Hello, my name is Eric, and this is Signs and Symbols. I apologize. The house that I'm living in is having some construction done on it today, and I'm just a renter here, so there's nothing I can really do about that. You might hear some banging and clattering in the background. Once again, I apologize. I woke up this morning, and here it's 10 a.m. I woke up at about 9 a.m. because I work later in the day. And I live in the Philippines, so there's a 13-hour time difference going on. So when I woke up this morning, this music video that was released today by Kendrick Lamar, Rich Spirit, it had already been out for about 7 hours. But when I woke up today, I had, prior to knowing that this music video came out, I had a kind of spiritual experience. And this isn't the first time I've had a spiritual experience tied together with Kendrick Lamar releases. For example, when Family Ties came out, I was the only person that mentioned that Family Ties was probably going to be about universal consciousness. I said probably going to be about, that it was probably about universal consciousness and the ending of duality. Duality means the ego. And I don't think a lot of people were totally on board with that breakdown. They didn't understand what I was talking about, and they were pretty skeptical of it. Then, when The Heart Part 4 came out, I talked about how that also was about universal consciousness, as we see that it says at the beginning, I am, all of us. And I took that information and I said that I thought the rest of the album was going to be about Jesus and how the Christ spirit within all of us is universal. The I am consciousness energy which lives within us is not different from person to person. And I got a few people saying that's correct, like maybe it'll be about that, some not. And then later that week, Kendrick came out with his album cover for Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, and he's got Christ's crown on his head. No one else predicted that, and I don't sometimes know where my ideas come from. Like, even my idea to have this channel, I don't really know where it came from. I actually prayed to, I'm not a like standard regular Christian, but I prayed to like consciousness, to the universe in a mystical kind of way to give me an idea for this channel. And eventually I started to see these visions all around me, like not in my head, but like in signs telling me that I should make this channel. Well, anyway, this morning when I woke up, I woke up in a different way, because normally my ego is strongest in the morning and I sort of dissolve it as the day goes on. I meditate, I'll exercise, I pay attention to my I am essence within. I try to let go of the things in my mind that aren't really truly me, such as worries, hate, fear, any of the things like this. And then by like the afternoon or the evening, that's where I'm most spiritual. But today, when I woke up, I had the normal thoughts in my head, talking about like the things I needed to get done, the things that I should worry about, and so on. But I also had this spirit around me, this calming, soothing, like cool feeling, like the temperature felt like a little crisp and cold, like this peace like settle on me. And I realized, I was like, you know, the thoughts, you don't matter. What matters is this essence that I feel inside, and that's what I'm gonna focus on. And so I just laid there for a little while, focusing on the spirit within me. And then I checked my phone, as I do every morning, to see if there had been any music videos released that I could talk about. I saw that Kendrick had put this one out. And then I saw the title, because I've broken down this album before. I saw it was Rich Spirit, and I realized that I could get a lot deeper into Rich Spirit, really help you understand a little bit more what Kendrick is talking about, because it's basically the essence of my morning there that I just had. It's the essence of Rich Spirit. And the fact that I had this awakening this morning, I literally awoke, spiritually awoke this morning in the same kind of way, where I just kind of like let go of these thoughts. And that's what Rich Spirit is about. So let's get into it. There's so many topics of spirituality that Kendrick drops one-liners for in this song. But the first one is when he talks about a universal shift. He says, Universal shift, I'm in a groove. The universal shift is something that Kendrick alludes to later in this song as well, when he says that the new earth is coming. These are both concepts from his guru, Eckhart Tolle. Basically, what it means is that as we shift our consciousness away from ego, our thoughts, our compulsive thoughts that never stop in our mind, and toward just looking inwardly at our own inward light, sitting in meditation and feeling our own beingness within, it creates a sort of momentum. But this momentum is not just personal, it's a universal thing, because in truth, there is no me and there is no you. There's just consciousness, and consciousness is sort of doing its thing, but we experience it on a personal level. So when he says universal shift, he's saying that this album is not coming just from Kendrick Lamar, the man. It's coming out of this universal shift towards higher consciousness. And when he talks about the new earth later, that is the new earth is the result of the universal shift, when everyone, on a greater and greater number of people, shift away from the egoic thoughts that we have on automatic and towards looking within, centering ourselves on our heart, centering ourselves on our being within, and just observing our own being. Then the world is going to change greatly. Because you couldn't have war in a situation like that. You couldn't have poverty in a situation like that. And you might say, well, it's not really doing anything. It's just an internal shift. Well, that is true. It's not doing anything. But that's a false conception of the ego. A lot of the problems of our earth are not because we're not doing enough. Because we're following the ego in an egoic way to try to make our own lives better, to try to feel more pleasure and more fulfillment in our own lives, but in the wrong way. You know, there's enough food on this planet for everyone. There's enough provided by God, provided by the Great Spirit, whatever you want to call it, provided by the I Am for us on this earth. That happens naturally. And if we all had this inner sense of being, this inner love for each other, and this inner recognition that we were all equal, then being happy would be a natural thing. Being fulfilled would be a natural thing. Sharing what we have with others would be a natural thing. And, you know, working hard towards making sure everyone was happy would not be grief. It would not be discomfort. It would just be the natural expression of joy of being alive. And we would have tears in our eyes as we look at our earth and how it's changed. And this is the new earth. We don't even know how much we would actually have to do in this new earth to provide for each other, because God would be taking care of us so much more. Like Jesus said, you know, look how much Jesus provides for the birds of the sky. They have their tiny bird brains. They don't know what they're doing, but they find enough to survive. How much more would God care for us and provide for us? Now we've got construction and my dog barking. I'm sorry, there's a lot of distractions today, but we're gonna push through this. Later, Kendrick says, I can't F with you no more, I'm fasting. What does he mean by this? Does he mean he's fasting from food? Does he mean that he's fasting from sex? It's not that. What he's fasting from, in this case, is thinking. He's fasting from his ego. So this is a song actually between him and his own ego. He's having a talk with his ego. The ego is saying to him, hey, you know, you want this, you want that, you need this, you need that. And he's saying, like, I'm not even talking to you anymore. He at one point he talks about his phone is broke. I made a video last week about the song Telephone by Lady Gaga, where I said that it was about, like, basically cutting off the telephone line that your ego has to your soul, and just telling your ego whenever you hear thoughts like, that guy was so bad to you, you should get revenge on him, such and such, such and such. You just don't even listen to it. You don't argue with the ego, because that would just be the ego arguing with itself. You just say, no, I'm here inside, I'm meditating, my phone is broken. This, of course, has a double meaning. He says that he's rich, but he has a broke phone. Basically, the meaning here, I take it to mean that even though he presents himself as rich, he might buy a $3 million crown or something like that. The things that he does with his money are cut off from his ego. So he's buying these things from inspiration from within. We have this idea that if you're super spiritual, then you shouldn't be rich. Like, you should live in poverty and give away everything that you have. But that doesn't really work, because there's got to be this balance. And a lot of this song is also about balance. As he says, I'm trying to keep the balance. I'm staying strong. Stop playing with me before I turn you into a song. So he's telling the ego, like, I'm allowing the I am to create this balance in my life, but if you don't stop talking to me, telling me what I'm supposed to do, I'm going to make a song about you, exposing you. And the ego does not want to be exposed, because anything that is held up to the light of conscious awareness is dissolved in love. And this is another spiritual concept. Basically, he's threatening the ego to be quiet. Maybe the ego was not quiet. So he said, you know what? I'm sitting down and I'm going to make this song, and I'm not going to listen to you. Like an internal battle. Buddha, Christ, Muhammad, he's talking about how all of these religions, they point to the same thing, but humans have misinterpreted it. All religions in their true essence are mystical. They point to the fact that the kingdom of heaven is within. We need to get in touch with the kingdom of heaven, not from the level of mind and ego. We need to drop all that, as he says in N95, drop this and drop that and drop this. We need to allow ourselves to just feel inside the body. And this is what Eckhart Tolle is about a lot. If you keep a connection with your body at all times, that is the essence of enlightenment. That is the essence of the new earth. Because as within, as without. He alludes to the multi-world theory, as in that there is not one reality that we all live in. When he says, thoughts and prayers way better off timelines. What he means by this is that if we have compassion, because right before that he's talking about when someone dies, we should pray for them. He's saying when we have compassion and love in our hearts, we have way better timelines. Every choice we make in life branches off our timeline. So if you keep love in your heart and you have compassion for other people and those that have passed, and you have real genuine love, you will start branching off towards a timeline that attracts more people that have that kind of feeling. If you live with hate in your heart, you're going to branch off into a mystical timeline where people are more hate-filled. And a lot of people talk about how these days the Earth's basically going in two directions in a spiritual way: fear and love. So you want to make sure that you're on the Earth that's heading towards love, or you're going to be headed towards an Earth that has more problems and more hate, not because God hates you or something, but because it's basically a way for you to see more truly who you are inside, which is love. If we don't recognize that, we need more evidence of what we aren't on the outside to realize what we are on the inside. So you end up getting more problems in your life. Your world gets worse timelines for you to experience more struggle before you make it to your happiness. So remember, rich spirit, what rich spirit means is that the aura, the energy that we put off is rich. The rich aura will attract better things into your life because you get what you give. We can see here that Kendrick said, can't F with you no more, I'm fasting, bitch, I'm attractive. So he's basically saying that his essence is attractive, meaning that our essence is like beautiful, like it's the nature of God, it's the nature of I am, but also that he's an attractive, he's like a magnet. So he's not going to, it sounds like he's talking about a relationship here, right? Like he doesn't need this girl anymore because he's attractive. But what he's talking about is with his ego. Like if I listen to you and I have those hateful thoughts and hateful feelings, I'm going to attract more of that into my life and attract negative timelines. I want to go to the new earth where we all see that we are the same inside. Therefore, I can't mess with my thoughts anymore. I'm fasting from my thoughts so that I can have more of what I am, which is attractive within the I am presence. All right, what do you think about all of this spirituality today? Did it get you excited? Do you think it's wrong? Leave your comments, thoughts, beliefs, anything down below, and I will answer as many questions as I can. Give a thumbs up if this was interesting or helpful. Follow the channel if you like these deep breakdowns. Thanks so much, guys. See you in the next one. Peace.